Surprise everyone and welcome to a new episode of Surprise Guest with Pia Arcangel, and we are expecting none other than one giant surprise today dahil ang guest natin, hindi natin kilala, hindi natin alam kung sino makakasama natin sa araw na ito. Pero makakatanggap tayo ng mga clues para malaman kung sino siya. Ang ating first clue, isa siyang voice dubber. Oo, parang wala pa akong nakilalang voice dubber. Unless nakakilala na kami pero hindi namin alam na dubber siya. Former politician. Mahirap to. Ano kaya to? Local? National? Isa siyang stroke survivor. Oh, okay. That's something we can talk about. Isa rin siyang host. Teka, isipin natin ha. Voice dubber, former politician, stroke survivor, host. Kuya ng bayan. OMG, there can be no other person other than Kuya Kim. Is that you, Kuya Kim? Yes! Kuya Kim, nahirapan naman ako dun sa clues. Okay, so lagi tayo nakikita, pero with the clues given, di ko nahulaan. I was thrown off by the voice dubber, Kuya Kim.
Yung voice dubber, that was my first job ever, Pia.
Talaga?
Yeah, my very first break in ABS-CBN was not an on-cam talent. I was a voice dubber. I was the voice of Ultraman and Magmaman.
Oh, wow!
Yeah.
Kwento mo naman yung voice dubbing.
I started out on television in the 80s, around 1989. I wanted so badly, Pia, to be on cam. Kaso, Kuya Kim naman is not ugly, not handsome either, sakto lang. We had no place on television back then. Dati kasi it'd be perfect to be on TV, di ba? So my first break was, I was a voice dubber for Maskman. Maskman muna. On Channel 5 and then we moved to Channel 13. So I went on as a voice dubber for a few years up until there was a break for my voice talent group in ABS-CBN. ABS just opened then eh. ABS-CBN opened in 1986, 1987. This was in 1989, 2 years pa lang. And this was a live anime show called Ultraman. So that was my voice. I was Ultraman and multiple other characters. And then after one season of Ultraman, there was Magmaman naman. Uso na yung mga live anime shows nan from Japan. And that was my first break in ABS-CBN. Yeah, and then I got into politics for a while. Actually, 12 years. By God's grace, I was back on television in 2004. And it's been 20 years since that day.
Wow, Kuya Kim, I never knew. I always thought that, your television career started when you were doing on-cam. Mas maaga pa pala nag-umpisa yung TV career mo. And as a voice dubber, how cool is that? Hindi ka ba nahirapan? I mean, it's hard kasi as it is, kapag on-cam, di ba, it's hard enough to convey emotion. Lalo na siguro kapag boses lang ang ginagamit na hindi ka naman nakikita.
Actually, Pia, being a voice talent, it takes a lot of subtleties and there's a lot of nuances to it. A lot of people think that being a voice talent on television is the same as being a radio talent. Magkaiba yan eh. Kasi on radio, you have to exaggerate your voice and you have to exaggerate your emotions because there's no video support. Alam mo, kinakailangan, sumugod tayo! Ganon, OA, medyo OA. Sa TV, as voice talent, yung mga radio talent, nahirapan mag-adjust kasi medyo OA sila. Because on television, since there's video support, the voice should be commensurate to the emotion on video. Hindi pwedeng OA. Kung subtle yung mukha ng TV, ng acting, kailangan subtle din yung boses. Pagka-radio kasi walang mukha eh. So talagang dapat na-use. Okay talaga. Nasasaktan ako ng todo. Napakasakit. Ganon, medyo okay. Hindi pwede sa TV yan. Okay ang labas. So alam mo sino yung mga radio talent na nagvo-voice at yung mga talagang tunay na voice talent na pag-TV.
Kuya Kim, so pag nag-VO ka, pag nagda-dub ka for TV, so like wari si Maskman, ganyan, habang nagda-dub, nakikita mo na yung images.
Yes, alam mo Pia, during our time, this was in the 80s and early 90s, it took a lot of skill to be a voice talent. Mainly because hindi pa digital nun. Wala pang numero. Mano-mano ang editing nun. Splicing. Yung tape. Hindi pareho ngayon. In the same way, when you dub on television, we use visual cues and not numbers. Ibig sabihin, bago buksan yung bibig, kailangan naka-ready ka na eh. When you dub, na pag sinusundan mo yung bibig, you're always a step late. So, Chinese movies. When Chinese movies, talatang dubbed sila. They use the mouth. Because number one, Chinese naman is not the language. So medyo off yung pagka-dub, nagiging comedy tuloy. Ang voice dubbing ng panahon na yun, you use visual cues. Kunyari, 2 seconds before bumukas yung bibig, titingin ka na ron sa video. Meron bang dahon na nahuhulog doon sa puno? Bumukas mo na kaunti yung pintuan, ganyan. And then you use that cue to know that in 2 seconds, bumukas yung bibig. So you're on time all the time. You don't use the mouth to dub. That takes a lot of skill. And number two, yung pagbabasa ng script mo, kunyari script yan. Kung yung script masyadong malayo sa TV, and you read it like this, yung time travel ng mata mo from the script to the screen, that's a split second, then you lose it, hindi ka na-sync. Dapat yung script, ililinya mo doon sa camera, malapit na malapit yung linya, ilalagay mo sa mismong paragraph. So yung eye level mo, doon sa camera, at doon sa script, halos magkalinya, walang split second lost. Mga skills na ganyan, na hindi na alam ng mga dubbers ngayon. Ngayon kasi they're numbers And then hindi lang yan, may audio sync pa ngayon. You can be not in sync, yet the editor can sync you.
It's easier. Oo.
Yeah, nung panahon namin, kunyari, there are 4 characters in one scene. You're as weak as the weakest link. So ginagalingan namin lahat para makauwi kami lahat. Kasi ikaw yung pinakamabagal dun sa 4, you'll delay everyone, inisan ka. So mabilisan, kailangan magaling lahat.
Pag ganon, Kuya Kim, always from the top. Kailangan, kumare may magkamali sa gitna, you go back to the top.
Yes, nung panahon namin.
Wow.
Kung magkamali, back to the top. Naku, kainisan ka ng mga kasama mo.
Grabe pala yung pressure noon. But Kuya Kim, now that I think about it, actually, I've always thought this, that your voice on TV is very distinct. So now that I think about it, it's really not surprising that you were a voice dubber before. Do you remember the last time you dubbed? Was it like before you started on cam?
Oh my gosh. The last time I dubbed professionally was Magmaman. That was in 1991.
Anong storya ni Magmaman?
Inaapi, tapos yung inaapi, pupunta sa robot, tapos yung robot will save humanity. Pero yung storyline na yung Masked Man, 5 kami, palaging 5. There's something about 5 Walter's 5, 5
Power Rangers.
Power Rangers, 5 palagi. Like a magical superhero number for Japanese. So kami, ordinary people kami, parang Batman, and then someone's in trouble, merong monster, palagi may monster. Merong monster lumabas galing sa dagat, threatening to end the world, at tatawagan kami, lalabas yung 5. Magko-convert kami from 5 ordinary civil-minded citizens to superheroes.
Grabe, Kuya. So how many years were you doing this? Maxman, Magmaman?
I was doing it from 1988 to 1994 or 1995. Mababa rin. 1995, yeah. Because 1995, I shifted into politics. I got into politics.
Pero Kuya Kim, at one point ba, kung, halimbawa, mag-order ka sa telepono or kaya may kausap ka, sabihin na parang kilala ko yung boses mo.
Pero Pia, nakakatawa because my voice is very distinct. Kilala, kinukopya nga palagi ng maraming tao. Alam nila na Kuya Kim yun. Hindi naman siya. The reason why I got into voice acting, Pia, was because I was so passionate about being an on-cam talent. Alam mo, no college tayo, to be a commercial model was a real status symbol. We all looked up in UP to the commercial models. Kilala namin yan. Uy, si Janel Barreto sa Palmolive yan. Uy, kilala namin lahat yan. Uy, si Pia Arcangel. Ganun yun. And I wanted so badly to be sikat. Lahat ng mga TV commercials, di ba, may mga busi yan. Lahat ng mga auditions, pinupuntahan ko yan. Hindi ako matanggap-tanggap. Talagang hindi ako matanggap on cam. Up until one time, the producer, his name's Noel Malionga. He's also a voice dubber. Sabi ni Noel, Kim, Mr. Kim, your voice is very distinct. Sabi niya ganito, your hands are very distinct and very, maganda yung kamay mo, malaki, and then your voice is very distinct. I'd like to audition you for a hand commercial. Hand commercial. Gusto ko face commercial. And a voice commercial. Subukan natin, baka dyan ka mag-excel. And true enough, my first audition for be a voice talent, nakuha ka agad. This was for Beer na Beer.
Oh!
I was the very first voice of Beer na Beer. They were launching Beer na Beer then. I was also the voice of the first commercial for Miller Cigarette. Nakakatawa, puro sin products nga eh. And then I went on doing voice commercials. And then as a voice talent also, you get to audition to mga dubbing projects eh. So sabay yan. Isang grupo lang kami yan. A grupo ni Noel Malionga. Noel, by the way, is the voice of Big Bird in the original Walters 5.
Oh!
Got close to the original Walters 5 cast. And then si Steve Armstrong, I think, was Chito Manyo. So ayan, puro mga dating mga Walters 5 voice talents yan. But Noel was my dubbing supervisor. And he was the one who brought me to ABS-CBN. Siya yung dubbing supervisor ng Magmaman at Ultraman. I started na on my TV career, a bit frustrated because I couldn't be on cam. Puro boses lang. I told po my dubbing supervisor, Noel, tell naman ABS-CBN. Ilagay naman yung mga pangalan namin sa credits para alam na kami yun.
Ay, dati ba wala?
Wala. Hanggang ngayon, wala.
Oh.
And you know what's funny about Pia? Our rate then, I was already a senior dubber. My rate then, which is 1,000 pesos, per episode, is still the same rate that they're getting now.
Wow! Walang inflation sa kanila.
1,000 pa rin sila. 1,000 kami noon.
Oy,
This was
pero,
in 1990s, ha?
Kuya Kim, when you were doing that, that was your main gig.
Malaki yun, Pia.
Oo.
I was earning for all my voice gigs, commercials, and anime. I was earning more than 10,000 pesos a month. And this was in college. So I felt so wealthy. Parang ang yaman ko noon. Naglilibre ako palagi. I had gasoline for my beat-up car that got stolen, by the way. And then, I felt so rich. Ang yaman-yaman ko, 10,000.
Sarap siguro maging kaibigan ni Kuya Kim nung time na yun. Laging nalilibre ng lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Libre pa gasolina.
Sa Malate palagi. Kasi Malate was the party central then eh. I remember all the dubbers and all the theater actors, my friends, would all hang out pagka weekend, Wednesday, Saturday, Friday and Saturday, sa Penguin Cafe in Malate. And Penguin was the epicenter of those who were deep into the arts, music, photography. I remember Penguin. That was my second home. And voice talents and dubbers. I met all my artistic friends, all my artist friends in that little cafe in Malate, Penguin. Inabot mo yun, Pia?
Parang hindi na, Kuya Kim. Pero naabutan ko na nagpa-party pa sa Malate. But Kuya Kim, parang now that now I begin to really see how strong the artistic side of you is. Was your course in college related to the arts?
I took up film and audiovisual communications.
Okay.
In UP, not to be a director, not to be a producer, not to be a TV writer. I wanted to be a TV star. Back in the 80s, I already wanted to be a TV star. But Pia, my peg was Agamo. In the 80s kasi, you have to be Atamula and you have to be Richard Gomez. Your face is perfectly symmetrical. You have to be handsome. You have to be fit. Ako, as I said, sakto lang ako. Para ko si Igan. Para ko si Mike Enriquez. Naka-level kami yan.
Nadamay sila.
Sakto lang kami. Hindi kami Adam Bulak, hindi kami Richard Gomez. Sakto lang. Walang lugar sa sakto lang during that time. Kaya nga, ang laki ng utang loob ko kay Buma, ang laki ng utang loob ko kay Igan, kasi they paved the way for the sakto lang people like me to have a career on television.
It's a whole new genre pala, no? The sakto lang genre.
Yeah. For Igan, before Buma, Richard Gomez. Alam mo, katawa nga because in my mind, I was so focused to be like Agamulak and Richard Gomez. Yung pala, ang plano sa akin ni Lord, iba. The Lord did not want me to be Richard Gomez or Agamulak. He wanted me to be like Ernie Baron. So, wala pala sa mukha yan. Yung pala, nire-reserve ni Lord sa akin to be the new Ernie Baron, to be like the walking encyclopedia, the TV genius. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that I was going to be that. And I've been that for the past. It's my 20th year of television this year.
Wow, happy anniversary, Kuya Kim.
Of course, yeah, thank you.
But imagine that. So, bata ka pa lang, ito na yung gusto mo, and then you just took a short break when you did politics. Because I remember you were counselor, di ba, Kuya Kim? So, how many years?
So, when I first met you, I think
Yes.
you're covering City Hall, you're covering Malate, dalaga ka pa nun. But I remember, it was 12 years that I spent in politics. 3 years as barangay chairman in San Andres, and then 9 years as a city councilor of Manila, 1995 up to 2004. Yeah.
Did your parents, did your family have a hard time convincing you to give politics a try?
No, because it was a bit. This is my dad's pitch to me. Sabi niya, Kim, di ba you like television so much? No? Sabi ko, yeah, Dad, I really want a career on TV. Alam mo, as politicians, I'm always on TV. Watch me. I'm on TV. He was vice mayor then. Watch me. I'm on TV tonight. Oh, look, I'm always in the news. But the satisfaction's the same. You get television as well. At the same time, you have a big break in politics because of your family. Give it a try. Give it a chance. Sayang naman, baka pampolitika ka eh. I was very good with people. I still am very good with people. Gamitin mo yung people skills mo. Mamamaling ka ng tao. Ganyan. So I gave it a chance because nga, dad is dad. And then the first term as city councilor was quite fulfilling. I was quite fulfilled the first term. But the second term, the fulfillment was not as much. The third term, I was so unhappy na. I knew it was not for me, and I knew that I was in it for the wrong reasons. I was not in it for genuine 100% public service. I was in it partly for public service, but in most part, in a bigger part, a service to my dad because I love my dad so much. I wanted someone to replace him, someone to watch his back, someone to support him. So I was a politician for dad and my family first and foremost. And secondly lang, pangalawa lang in public service. And that will not drive you to succeed. that will not drive you to be passionate about what you do, I was a bit unfulfilled.
When you told them na this isn't for me, hindi naman sila parang na-disappoint. I mean, they didn't try and convince you to, stay on for a little bit longer, maybe run for another position.
Magandang story yan. That's actually the story. That's my testimony. I'm a Christian. I'm a born-again Christian. My TV comeback was God's will, and it happened so supernaturally. Grabe yan. I got back to television in 2004 because 2006 was the time that Dad was going to end his term as mayor of Manila. And the family agreed to make me run as his replacement. I was going to be mayor of Manila. And then me naman, though my heart was not in politics anymore, I was a good son. And I said, yes, okay, I'll do that. So the whole family started preparing already. My propaganda was already out. We already had leaders down to the ward, down to the precinct level to prepare my politics to run as mayor. And then, like any other politician, I said, the best way to get exposure is to be on television. Since my classmates in MASCOM were already bosses then in all the channels, mga boss na mga desk na eh. I called a friend and I told him, this is DJ Saldaan. I told DJ, I need a break on TV. Sabi niya, what will you do? Ano gagawin mo? Then kasi, well, I really like animals, no? Since I was a kid, I took care of exotic animals. I'm very good with snakes and lizards and the creepy stuff. Then I told DJ, sabi ko, bro, there's no local Steve Irwin. Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, was still alive then. No local Steve Irwin. I can be that. Huh? How are you gonna do that? Dad is mayor. We can convert Manila Zoo and make it like a TV studio. We can put lighting there. I have access to the cages of the big animals, the crocodiles. We make it look like a swamp. Ganon ang ano. Uy, maganda yan. Sabi ko, and then, not only that, sabi niya, how am I gonna pay? How are you gonna get paid? You don't have to pay me. Kasi my agenda rin yun, exposure. You don't have to pay me. As a matter of fact, I can get sponsors for that segment. And I knew exactly already what TV show. Put me in the morning show para daily. My first break, I had a segment. It was a 5-minute segment, being Steve Irwin and playing with animals. My executive producer then, who's my manager now, Noel Ferrer.
Si Noel pala yun. Okay.
That's when I met Noel first. Noel was the VP. Sabi ni Noel sa akin, Kim, why are you limited to animals alone? I can see that you're very good with people also. You do people na rin. And then he gave us a segment. It was me, DJ Manoto, a former Kapuso, and Mama Rene Salud. I had my taped segment, my Animal Lander segment. Aside from my taped segment, I had a live segment with DJ. We'd go and visit personalities na si Richie. Si Richie, apat pala kami, apat. So we go to mga different personalities, and then may dala akong hayop palagi. Si TJ was a serious interviewer. Si Mama Rene, kung ano mga LGBTQ jokes ang nilalabas. The segment was so funky, it was rating so well. Tuwan-tuwa si Noel.
Wow!
And 2 segments na. But the hat had to stay. Kasi people are so used to me wearing a hat. So I was knowing people na were still wearing a hat. And then Noel still being EP put me in another show with Bianca and
Ryan.
Ryan. And sino pa ba? Si Drew. And then Why Speak Not? Dalawa na yung show ko. After a couple of years, Noel said, sa studio ka na. I became a main host na. And then that's what really started. And then, this is it. After about a year and a half doing television, I knew already that my passion was television. I knew that I'm back and I love this. This is what, I'll do this for free. I had a duty to my family. So ito na, I was split na. Elections was coming. In about 6 months, mag-election na. And ang exposure ko, maganda na, nakikilala na ako ng tao. I had a bigger chance of winning now as mayor of Manila. Yet, I knew that my passion was really television. And then this happened. Maria Ressa, who's the head of news and current affairs in ABS then, was watching me pala all this time. Sabi niya, I really like this guy. He told me this after. Ernie Baron, the resident weatherman and walking encyclopedia, died in 2006. Before he died, I covered his house in my usual segment. And then on air, live, sabi niya, bata, hindi Kuya Kim ang tawag niya sa bata. Malapit na ako mamatay. At pag namatay ako, he put his hand on my shoulder, ikaw ang papalit sa akin.
Oh.
My co-host then, which was Winnie Cordero, started crying also. Ka-Ernie, huwag mo sabihin yan. Because Ka-Ernie was healthy. He was not sick naman. But he had a premonition that he was going to die. So we changed the topic. This is live. But we changed the topic. We made it funny again. But when I went home, I prayed to God and I said, Lord, what was that? Parang, he saw my heart. You know my heart. You know that I want to be on television. And it was manifested through Ka-Ernie Baron. Parang things are falling in place. So I prayed to the Lord. Sabi ko, Lord, is this a sign? If this is a sign, your God, show me a stronger, clearer sign. I challenged the Lord. And then, Pia, January 23, a day before my birthday, in 2006, I got a phone call from Noel. Kim, tomorrow's your birthday. Sabi ko, yes, Noel. Sorry but you will not have a party. You won't have a surprise party in the show. Sabi ko, Noel, that's okay. I'm not expecting a party. No. Listen, you have no party because you have to cover the wake of Ka Ernie Baron. He died today.
No.
Imagine, he told me that he was going to die, and he told me that I was going to replace him. And a day before my birthday, he died. And on my birthday, I was covering the wake of Ka Ernie Baron. How clear a sign is that? So Maria Reza talked to me. Sabi niya, Kim, I want you to choose. He showed me a contract. Here's a contract. I want you to formally work for me. I want you to sign this. I have a career for you. Wow! Sabi ko, Mayor of Manila, good son to my father, and my passion, a career on television with a contract, may bayad. Sabi ko, oh my gosh. I prayed to the Lord again. My next prayer to the Lord, sabi ko, Jesus Christ, I know very clearly what you want for me. I know that you want me to be on television. Now, give me the courage. Give me the courage to talk to my dad. To tell him na ang papalitan ko si Ernie Baron at hindi siya. Ang hirap nun.
Oo, kasi they're all expecting nakapaghanda na sila.
Nakagastos na sila, Pia.
Oo.
So I invited Dad to breakfast. For breakfast in my home, we were seated in this table. Ito. I am seated by my kitchen table. I couldn't tell him. Dad was there. Then my mom was on the other side. And it was me and Feli. I couldn't tell him. Dad, I was near tears na. And then my dad said, Kim, you don't have to tell. Every time I watch you on television, I see how happy you are. Go where you're happy. You don't have to tell. I understand. Oh my gosh, Pia. I gave my dad a big hug. I started crying and I said, thank you, Dad. And then that was the beginning of Kuya Kim's career on television. On cam, not a voice talent, but seeing my face. That's not pogi, not pangit, that's sakto lang. Thank you, Iga.
And the beginning of your career na may bayad na.
May bayad.
Matagal-tagal pala bago nagkabayad.
Matagal-tagal.
Oo nga. But wow, Kuya Kim, I never knew the backstory. I mean, I just had always assumed because I remember halos sabay-sabay lang din naman tayo nag-umpisa, di ba? I remember when, kasi I was already in GMA at the time, and then they would talk about, nakita niyo na ba si Kuya Kim? Kilala niyo si Kuya Kim? Kasi talagang your on-cam presence was really something to take note of. And listening to you now, Kuya Kim, telling the story about how at that time pa lang, you were already turning to God, to your faith to help you make big decisions. That means ever since before, malakas na talaga yung faith mo. I always thought that parang the turning point for you was when you had suffered from a stroke, but it was even before that pa pala, Kuya Kim?
Pia, I went to the seminary.
Huh? Oh my gosh, Kuya Kim, you're blowing me away with all these revelations. Voice number, nag-seminaryo ka pa pala.
After my high school, 2 years, was in Don Bosco Juniorate in Pampanga because I wanted to be a priest. My theology, my Catholic theology is quite solid. I can even pray in Latin and I know Latin because I took 2 years of Latin. I know the Our Father in Latin. Pater Noster, Quies in Cieli, Sanctificetur Nomen, Tuum ad Venia Trenium, cum fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. I know all the prayers.
From the heart.
Meetings, etc. in Latin. Because we used to pray in Latin in seminary because I wanted so badly to be a priest. Because early on, even as a young boy, Jesus Christ was always my best friend. I would talk to him. I would pray to him. I was also always a very prayerful kid. Pag binubuli ako sa San Andres, I would pray to him. But Jesus Christ, growing up, was not my Lord and Savior. And that makes a difference. Jesus Christ was only a friend to turn to. Of course, he was my father. He was Papa Jesus. He was best friend Jesus. But he was not Lord Jesus. And that makes a difference. Now, when did I finally accept him as Lord and Savior? This was when I got sick again. 2010, I suffered a stroke. 2013, I got sick again, another mortal illness. It's a rare disorder called Guillain-Barré syndrome. My hands and my feet got paralyzed. I was going to be totally paralyzed and eventually die. And I was in ICU when I prayed to the Lord and I said, Lord, help me. And that's when I called a friend, Rica Paranejo, was married to a pastor, Pastor Joe Bonifacio. Rica was my co-host in the morning show. Woman, ba't nasan ka? I'm in ICU. Nasa ICU ko na naman. Yep, but this time, bring your husband, Pastor Joe Bonifacio, here. Why? Because I want to be born again. I want to accept Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. That's that day in 2013 was when I finally accepted Jesus, not only as best friend, but as Lord and Savior. Now, being Lord, of course, iba yung Lord eh. A Lord has power of life and death over you. Yet He's a loving Father at the same time. but He's Lord. Ibig sabihin may rules. So I do not sin. I don't willfully sin. Unlike before, I would just sin. Yet because He's my best friend will understand. Now He's my Lord. I do my best to make my Lord happy. And that makes a difference.
Wow, what a story, Kuya Kim. After that, because I've seen this personally, that you share your faith as much as you can, diba? Did you take your whole family with you on that journey, or was it really just a personal journey for you?
Pia, Fanny is a Buddhist. Fanny's not Filipino. She's Taiwanese. And she comes from a family of Buddhists. And she's Buddhist as well. And growing up, my kids, because Fanny had a different faith, I had a different faith. I was not practicing Catholic. The kids were baptized in the Catholic faith, yet I was not able to bring them up the way a Christian dad would bring them up because we came up in a faith family. So the kids grew up very agnostic as well, like the parents. And then we made them study ISM class. IS, very agnostic in yan, because there are many religions. You can't really impose your own religion. So the kids are quite agnostic, like Fanny. Yet, there's a promise in the Bible. The promise is when the head of the household gets saved, then the whole household will be saved as well. All I can do is plant seeds, and I've been planting seeds all these years. And my kids will accept the Lord. Fanny will accept the Lord in God's time. It took me 40 plus years to accept Him as Lord and Savior. It's only been 11 years. So marami pang time. But the good news naman is my son called me last year from Boston. He graduated the last month in Tufts University in Boston. He called me last year and he said, Papa, 2 years ago, I want to learn more about my faith. Uy, what got you to this point? I was baptized Catholic and just want to get more about Jesus Christ. See, at a certain point in his life, he was around 20 years old, he wanted to discover Christ. When he got that, I took him to catechism class. He took his first Holy Communion at 20 years old, and then now he's deep into his Catholic faith. Now, I'm born again Christian, but I know that Catholics can be saved as well. Theology naman is basically the same. Sa essence na nagkakaiba. I told Jose, be the best Catholic you can be. But don't forget this. Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, and walk in that relationship with Jesus Christ. And then everything else will fall in its place. You get into your theology, learn about the Catholic faith, but get back to fundamentals. The fundamental is Jesus is your Lord and Savior, and work on that relationship. So he's Catholic, practicing Catholic, with a solid walk with Jesus Christ as well. So one kid na. 2 kids to go, and Fanny, again in the Lord's time.
Wow, it's so nice to see, Kuya Kim, how you're so conversant about your faith. You're so comfortable talking about your faith. Because diba sometimes a lot of people, hindi sila komportable na binabanggit to, whether on TV or in interviews, kasi parang they like to keep it to themselves. Pero ikaw, baliktad. Talagang you share it with others. So Kuya Kim, now my question is, sabi mo kanina parang, so your son is already 20 years old, just graduated from college, and you have 3 kids. How old is your youngest, Kuya Kim?
Jose is now 21, turning 22. Eliana, who's been in the world news lately, is 19. And then my youngest, Eman, is 18. So 3 kids.
Okay. And magkakasunod pala their age. And you've been married for how long,
I've been
Kuya
married
Kim?
for almost 23 years now.
Wow, almost your silver anniversary, Kuya Kim. And you mentioned earlier that your wife, Feli, is actually not Filipina. But how did you guys meet?
Interesting topics and insightful conversations with one of the country's veteran and most award-winning journalists, Howie Severino. The Howie Severino podcast was hailed as one of Spotify's best new podcasts and has consistently been one of the top Philippine podcasts since its launch. The Howie Severino podcast. New episodes streams every Thursday on major streaming platforms.
You mentioned earlier that your wife, Feli, is actually not Filipina. But how did you guys meet?
Ay, nako, that's another story. It will take 2 hours of your podcast.
Yung condensed version, Kuya Kim.
This version. Kelly and I, this is a classic example of love at first sight that worked. It was love at first sight in Kelly and me. I remember back then, this was in 1999, a friend of mine, si Ana Periquet, was on assignment. I told Ana, look around for my ideal wife, for someone that I can marry na. Because I was so ready na to get married.
How old were you then?
32, 33 years old.
Okay.
I want to get married na, look for someone I can marry na. So she was constantly scouting around, looking around for someone I can marry. Someone I can get to be, I can get to know the marriage material. And then one night, I was smoking my shisha pipe. There's a shawarma restaurant here in Malate. It's the most famous shawarma restaurant in the Philippines. This is the first one. It's called Shawarma Snack Center. I was always in the habit of bringing my vintage scooter, bringing it there as a typical Malate boy in my retro outfit and smoke my shisha pipe and drink my Turkish coffee. Yan ang style ko dati. And then I got a phone call from my Nokia 5110. Well, text lang, binibilang mo pa kasi maubos ang memory. Kim, I found the part, the woman for you. Sabi ko, oh, talaga? Oh, tell me more. She's beautiful, she's smart, she's educated abroad, and you like her. Maganda type mo to. Very elegant looking. Her name is Felicia. Okay, but Kim, there's a catch. What's the catch? She's leaving. Huh? Where's she going? She's going to London to work for Merrill Lynch. Okay, when's she coming back? Hindi na babalik eh. Actually, she did parang goodbye dinner. It's an engagement dinner for her brother who's getting married, and it's also goodbye dinner for her. She's leaving in 48 hours for good. But I want you to meet her pa rin. Oh, Ana naman, ang labo mo naman. But anyway, sige, go. So I took my vintage Vespa, went to a restaurant in Makati, and then I went inside the restaurant. When I opened the door, I saw this woman in a table in the far end. She had slick back hair, very elegant. She was very slim and tan, and she had this air about her that's so elegant. It was just exuding this beauty and this confidence. And when I saw her, then I remembered who she was. She was Felicia Hung, who was always 10 best dressed, women we admire. She was always the cover of magazines then, and laging featured. Sabi, kilala ko to. Oh my gosh, I like her. I liked her already the first time I saw her. Then I sat on her table. I was introduced. I went for her right away. I asked her a question. After 20 minutes, I had a conversation. I told her, Felicia, do you believe in love at first sight? And then without batting an eyelash, Pia, she looked at me straight in the eye and she told me, yes, I do. I didn't bring a car tonight. I bought a vintage motorcycle. Would you like to ride with me? Take you around? I'd love that. She left her family, her brother's engagement party and her party. She rode my Vespa and I took her around Malate. Ikot kami ng Malate. And then, enjoy ako. Sabi ko, naku, huli ko na to. On the way home, this is early morning na, mga 2 in the morning. I took her to the number 1 bar then, which is Venetia. Abot mo yan, syempre. I took her to Venetia. This was the boom years of the stock market. Yeah, this was 1999. Ang daming Ferrari, nakaparada dun sa labas ng Venetia. Ito na si Kim Atienza. Hindi pa ako kuya nun. Si Kim Atienza, in a vintage Vespa, 1962 Vespa, with a woman nakasakay sa likod with a helmet. Wala akong helmet na binigay ko sa Feli. Then we, si Kim nandito. Hindi lang alam yung girl sa likod ko. Pagbaba ni Feli, everybody knew Feli then. All the stockbrokers, all these wealthy men in Ferraris, they knew Feli. Took off her helmet. Oh my gosh, it's Felicia Ho. Kasama ni Kim Atienza. Paano yan? Ano ba yan? Sino makapaniwala? Nakasakay ng Vespa. That's our first night. The second day, I told Feli, I want to take you to the airport. So before we went to the airport, the flight was at night. We had late lunch in People's Palace. People's Palace then was still in Malate. So I took her to Nakpil, People's Palace. Then I told Feli, Feli, this moment is just so beautiful. This last 2 days, it would be a waste to let it all go. But it's too soon to get into a relationship with each other because we just met each other. But let's do this. Let's take this 3 months at a time. She looked at me straight in the eye again and said, okay, what do you have in mind? I said, then I took off my watch. It was a Technomarine, beat up Technomarine. I used to bike with it. I would swim with it. I would add my sweat and my libag. So I took it out and I told, this watch has all my energy. Keep it with you, wear it, and then this coming December, give it back to me. But let's take this 3 months at a time. For 3 months, here's my watch. Can you be mine? And then, unflinching, she took off her watch, put it on my wrist, and said, I'm yours for 3 months. It was us na.
Oh my gosh! Kuya Kim, pang pelikula!
Sobra.
Grabe! Oh.
One. And then, pero 2 weeks after that day, sabi ko, I have to see Feli again. Wala pang Facebook noon. Wala pang FaceTime noon. Wala.
Oh nga, wala pang Skype.
Rotary phone. Digital no konti, pero mahal. Buti lang stockbroker siya. So in between client calls, libre ng telepono, she'd call me all the time. So we talk to each other so many times a day. But I found a way to get to London, and that was the beginning of our beautiful relationship. 2 years after that day, we had a long-distance relationship for a year, and then she came home, and then we got married.
Wow! So you have plans already for your 25th?
I'm planning, parang gusto ko church ceremony. Parang I want the pastor there. I want parang marriage again. I want what do you call it?
Renewal of vows. Oo, the renewal of
I'd like to do
vows.
that. And then maybe a
Wow.
party of a small group of people. You're invited. Yeah.
Thanks, Kuya Kim. Nabanggit mo parang 1999 pa lang, naka-ano ka na, vintage Vespa ka na. So your love affair pala with motorcycles is from long ago. Kasi alam namin na you have a passion for your motorcycles. So nag-umpisa pala yan way back pa. College pa lang ba?
Yes. In college, ninakaw ang kotse ko eh. And a beat up Toyota Corona that I used to go to school. Ninakaw siya. Sabi ko, oh my gosh, ninakaw ang kotse ko. You know, as a college student, you're so dependent on the car. In your life, I would use it to school and use it for my gimmicks. It was tied up to my status and my being. Because I'm a level up, the ordinary other classmates and with no car. But my car was beat up. It was a taxi-type Toyota Corona. It got carnapped. And then I found myself with no car. Sabi ko, how am I gonna do this? So I got an old motorcycle, a Honda CB400. And I used it to go to school. But I was dependent on dad then. I lived in his house. Anti-motorcycle ang daddy ko. So sabi niya, hindi pwede yan. You give it back. I sold it again to the original owner. I had no motorcycle na. What I did was, I lived on campus with a friend, Jonas Abueva. His dad, Jonas's dad, was the president of UP then. We lived in executive house. The house
Wow.
was there. What I used every day to go around the campus was a bicycle. So I would go to class in my cycling outfit, and I was quite buff then. I'd take a bicycle, my mountain bike, for many years, and just go around. On weekends, I'd go back to my home on a bicycle. So my love affair with two wheels started way back in college pa lang. And then after college, since I was independent na, I had money na, I bought my first Vespa. It's a Vespa PX, 1995 Vespa PX 150. And then that started my love affair again with motorcycles, scooters. I started a small collection of vintage motorcycles. I had the Vespa GS 160, which I still have up to now. When I was counselor, all my colleagues in the council would come to work and would go around the district in their nice cars. I was known as the one who would go around on a Vespa, go around my district on a Vespa. It started in the 90s. And then when I got married and then I had kids, I put it on hold first because my kids were growing up. So I sold all my Vespas.
Oh, okay.
Recently, mga 20, so I wasn't riding for a long time. I got into Land Rovers naman. I was into 4x4 vehicles. I'd do my weather report on top of a Land Rover. I'd go around on a Land Rover, vintage Land Rover, 1969. And then, 2015, I was able to buy back all my scooters from all three of them.
As in the actual scooters that you owned?
Yeah, I bought them back from Matthew Brill, a friend of mine. He owns Prismic and Brill. He likes antique and vintage stuff. He lives in Pampanga. So I was able to get them back. And then I started building a collection of big bikes. 2016, up to this day, I've been on a big bike or a scooter every single day. It's a conscious decision not to take a car anymore. Only when I need to. When I'm with my kids or with Feli, all my kids are gone na eh. So, 99% of the time, I'm on a motorcycle.
So how many motorcycles do you have now, Kuya Kim?
Oh, plenty. They might feature me on Fox News again if I sing this.
Pero di ba lahat sila nakahilera sa garahe?
Yeah, less than 20. Yeah. Okay,
Less than 20.
Wala na naman akong kotse eh. So, okay na yun.
Pero pag date night, do you still sometimes go around on a Vespa?
Of course, pagka Malate lang, naka-Vespa or Harley, masakay na motor si Feli pag Malate lang. Pag malayo-layo, pag Makati kami, kotse ni Feli. She drives.
Hindi ikaw yung magdadrive, Kuya Kim.
Hindi. She doesn't like my driving. When we go dating, sa Harley Drake naman, I drive back home.
Okay. Wow. And Kuya Kim, of course, aside from your motorcycles, you're also very passionate about your pets and your animals, which you also have at home, di ba?
Yeah.
Can you just enumerate some of your favorite animals or your pets at home?
When we moved to this home in Malate, about 18 years ago, we had dogs. But most of our dogs then were guard dogs, were purebred, meaning pinchers, kasi maingay sila eh. And then the 6 pinchers became 27 pinchers. It's so many dogs sila. But for the past 6 years, Feli and I decided that we're going to be empty nesting soon. Then we're going to be empty nesting already. We decided to start adopting aspins. So all our purebred dogs, they passed away and they're old na. The new dogs most of the dogs here in the house are all aspins. Most of them are aspins, elderly aspins that are unadoptable, and we adopt them. And so far, we have about 47 dogs, and a lot of them are adopted aspins, elderly aspins.
Pero they have their own area.
Yes. About 17 of these dogs are indoor and the rest are outdoor. The indoor pack, very solid yan, very territorial yan. The indoor pack has its own alpha and the outdoor pack has its own alpha also. The outdoor dogs will not go inside because they know that there's another pack there. And the indoor dogs will only go outside briefly and then rush inside just to make wee-wee and do number 2. Outside and then come back. So
Uy,
may
pero
mga-
galing. Kuya Kim, they must be very well behaved because kanina pa tayo nag-usap, wala kami naririnig na aso.
Actually, sayang, hindi ko ba, maraming aso dito. I have about 17 dogs. But
Pala
dogs
ka na.
about 80% of the day. There's no sleeping.
Tulog sila ngayon. Okay,
Galing.
kaya pala.
Pero the Aspins are here. And then, nakakatawa nga because we decided to adopt Aspins, but we ended up with 5 national champion Labradors, black Labradors.
Aside from the Aspin.
Because the champion Labrador breeder found out that we were adopting Aspins and that we loved our Aspins so much, contacted us from out of the blue. Thanks, Jeff. Sabi niya, Mr. and Mrs. Atienza, contacted my wife. I can see that you adopt dogs. I'm the breeder of of champion Labradors. I have so many Labradors already. I want all of them, when they retire, to go to a good home. And I've chosen your home. Hindi kami. Naku, we ended up with 5. Such beautiful Labradors. Kasama ng mga
Wow.
Aspin namin. So we have Aspins that are unadoptable. But we love so much. And we have 5 beautiful national champion Labradors with the Aspins coexisting. And it's beautiful.
Wow.
Walang discrimination dito sa bahay namin. Kaniyang yung national champion Labrador at
At yung Aspin.
rescued Aspin na muntik na mamatay, si Lolo Raf, who became the alpha. The alpha of the Labrador is an elderly Aspin that was near death that we adopted from Potion Project, si Lolo Raf.
Kuya Kim, di ba, aside from your dogs, you have other animals at home?
Yes, before I met Feli, I was heavy into exotics. I breed tortoises. I have Aldabra tortoises, big ones. I think you've seen them in one of our parties here. I have frogs. I have lizards. I have monitor lizards. I have iguanas. I have birds. I have different species of turtles, etc., etc.
And do any of the kids share your passion for animals and
Oh
pets?
yes, all of them. All of them.
Oh.
All three kids are so into the dogs. The youngest, Eman, is into snakes. She likes the snakes. Funny nga, she uses my snakes as an accessory whenever she has a party. There's always some snake around her neck.
Wow. Something to talk about sa party, di ba?
Yep.
But Kuya Kim, we know
Yeah.
you have a busy day ahead, but before we go, can we just do a very, very quick game? Kapuso trivia lang to. So, basahin ko yung mechanics, Kuya Kim, ha? Okay, magbibigay ka lang ng lesser-known trivia about you and some of your Kapuso co-hosts.
Okay.
Okay? Ito, Kuya Kim, I will make you choose. Either trivia about you or trivia about your co-hosts. Dalawa pala to.
Co-host muna.
Co-host na lang. Okay, sige.
Yes.
So, yes, the first name here is Susan Enriquez. Ano ba hindi
Okay.
namin alam tungkol kay Ate Su?
Ibang klase yan si Ate Su. Alam mo yan? First few weeks niya sa Dapat Alam Mo. Si Emmy lang kasama ko dati. Then si Susan na. Si Susan, sabi ko, ang galing naman ni Susan. Memorize siya lahat ng pangalan ng lahat ng staff. Paano niya nagawa yun? 2 taon na ako dito, hindi ko pa memorize lahat ng pangalan. Cameraman, mga bagong PA, ang galing ni Susan, believe ako dito. And then, to realize many months after, ini-invento lang pala ni Susan yung pangalan. Yung producer namin, ang tawag niya si Baby Girl. Baby Girl ka, Baby Girl. And then I found out, hindi naman Baby Girl ang pangalan ng Trina yun eh. Yung pala nag-invento siya ng pangalan. Tapos, yung director namin, basta kung ano yung pangalan niya, iba-iba.
Siya pala nag-iimbento, kaya pala memorize niya.
Oo naman yung mga namin, yung mga staff namin. Okay, Ate Su. So, in their mind, basta kay Susan, ako si Baby Girl.
So, Kuya Kim, kailangan try mo yung strategy na yan.
Si Susan naman has genuine relationships with the staff. Malalim ang relationship ni Susan. Kaya mahal na mahal ng staff si Susan eh. Style lang niya yan. Style lang niya. Ako naman ganyan din naman ako eh. Lahat ng tao sa akin, bro. Bro. Kasi dati hindi nakikilala everyday eh. But si Susan, malalim. Mahal siya ng staff at mahal din niya ang staff.
Oh.
Most of my colleagues are deep on a deep friendship level. Hindi lang working relationship.
Oh,
Yan,
kay Susan tayo.
Kasi Susan tayo. Yeah.
How about trivia at tungkol naman kay Emil Sumangil?
Emil Sumangil? Ay,
Oo.
nako. Si Emil Sumangil, sorry ng sorry, wala ka namang kasalanan. Sorry na sorry. ba kasalanan mo sa akin? Kasi dadaan na ako sa harap niya. Sorry po. Kuya Kim, sorry po. Kuya Kim, kumusta ka? Sorry po. Tapos sorry. Ano ako sa iyo? Emil is so humble. Emil is so down to earth. Ganun siya palagi. Alam mo yun? Sorry, makikita lang. Sorry po. Diba? Ganyan si Emil.
Oo, tsaka lahat ng tao sa kanya sir at ma'am, di ba?
Lahat
Kung
ng
si
tao,
Ate Sue
sir at
nag-iimbento ng pangalan, si Emil, sir at ma'am lahat.
Ang good point naman ni Emil is that naturally humble and very, very, very close to the Lord, religious. Si Emil is a super deep Catholic. May tattoo ng Jesus Christ yan sa bibig sa likod. He's the type na pag nag-retire yan sa TV, magiging Knights of Columbus yan. Magiging leader yan sa simbahan, magiging Knights of Columbus. That kind of faith he has. And then not only that, Emil is also so loved by the police. Kung may kailangan ka sa police, Emil is the man. Because a lot of people cannot say no to Emil because of his deep relationship down there to the people that matter. Lalo na sa pulisan.
Oo, that's
Yan
so
ang trivia
true.
ko, Emil.
Oo, pag kailangan ng tulong, hello, Emil.
General
Papatulong kay Emil. Oo.
Oh, that's si
Alright.
General something, whatever. Kilala ni Emil yan since lieutenant pa lang yan.
Kasi
ganun
parang
yan.
ang tagal na rin ni Emil nagko-cover eh. So talagang ever since before, magkakaibigan na sila.
Alam mo, Pia,
Ay.
sa kabila ko, ang tawag kay Emil si Mr. Scoop. Mr. Scoop yun. Alam mo kung bakit? Kasi itong mga polis, mga kapulisan, pag meron silang storya, hindi ibibigay sa iba. At sa sobrang pagmamahal nila kay Emil, Emil muna. Hindi galing kay Emil Mr. Scoop. Siya ang binibigyan ng scoop kasi malalim sa kanya eh. Sa kanya binibigyan ng storya.
How about eto, Kuya Kim? Si Patricia. Patricia Tumulak na naging co-host mo rin sa Dapat Alam Mo.
Si Patricia Tumulak, ang lakas niya mag-weights. Sobra. Kahit na hindi ko na yan kasama sa Dapat Alam Mo, we get workout every Monday. Meron kami date na every Monday, we do CrossFit together. Ang lakas mag-squats, grabe. Kung ano yung bigat ko, siguro konti lang kay Patricia na.
Wow!
Patricia is one of the fittest women I know. Simple lang yan. Hindi rin mayabang yan eh. Parang ganyan lang yan. But when you see her lifting weights and doing CrossFit, magugulat ka, ang lakas ni Patricia parang lalaki.
Eto, Kuya Kim, also another one of the fittest women I'm sure you know, Iya Villania.
Ay, nako. Sorry. I take it back. The fittest woman I know pala in the industry is Pia Arcangel. Parang wala si Patricia. There's one very difficult move in CrossFit called the muscle up. You do a pull-up, and then when you do a pull-up, you muscle up, and then you do you push yourself up on the bar. It's a gymnastics move. Males, even I cannot do that yet. Iya can do that so easily, many times.
Wow!
Ang mga moves ni Iya panlalaki. Iya, when I moved to GMA7, sabi ko, uy, kasi Drew and Iya are may inaanak sa kasal. Uy, I'm gonna be working with Drew. Finally, okay. Only to find out, my first show in GMA is 24 oras. My second show is Mars. Si Iya nakikita ko. Kasi makatrabaho si Drew, puro si Iya. Yun, puro si Iya na nakatrabaho ko. Si Drew, never ko nakakatrabaho.
I-save natin. Baka by the end of this year, si Drew nakatrabaho mo.
But I'm close to both. I see naman Drew in the CrossFit gym eh. But more than Drew. Si Drew naman, trivia ko dyan, of all the artistas that did triathlon, no one is stronger than Drew Arellano.
Really?
No one is stronger than Drew. Drew Arellano is the only artista triathlete that was able to break 5 hours in a half Ironman. I break 6 hours. And that's already a feat. That's already maybe 3% of the population of triathletes.
Wow.
Who is able to break 5 hours in a 70.3? Mahirap gawin yan. Si Drew na may kaya niyan. Drew is able to do a full Ironman in 10 hours. My full Ironman is 14-15 hours. Drew does it in hours. He's that fit. Iba yan.
Grabe.
I don't
Bagay
care-
talaga sila ni Iya.
Ay, bagay sila talagang, pati mga muscle lang niya, parang muscle na ni Drew. Pantay na sila muscle.
Nako, Kuya Kim. Siguro influence mo to kasi pati our next co-host is Camille Prats, who also is very fit right now, di ba? Grabe rin siya mag-exercise.
Si Camille, we call her UBB. Whenever Iya and I see Camille, same UBB yan. Do you know what UBB means?
No.
That term was coined by PR. It's called UBB Ultimate Beach Babe. Oh, diba? When you see
Nice.
a Camille's beach body, magugulat ka dyan. Hindi Princess Sarah yan. Super fit, muscular, strong, beautiful. She and her husband kasi si VJ, they work out together. That's good. But si Camille, ang trivia ko naman dyan, yung pagiging Kristiyano ni Camille is so practical and so applied. Ang lakas kay Lord niyan, sobra. Si Camille exudes confidence and radiates her relationship with Jesus Christ. She is salt and light. Kung nasaan si Camille, merong ilaw. Ganon si Camille.
Wow.
Doesn't even have to cite Bible verses, but you can feel the Christianity with the way she is and the way she moves. I love Camille. Ay nako, alam mo ba yung Mars Pamor namin ni Iya at ni Camille? Kasi that was a solid year where I was co-hosting with them. I met all the talents of GMA. The Lord put me in that show so I can meet all of you guys and all the sparkle artists, all the entertainment artists, all the lahat. Kasi guest namin, ang dami, araw-araw. I got to meet all of them, crash course. But more than that, I got to meet Camille and Iya on a very spiritual level. Before every show, we would be in one dressing room, and we'd share. It was a small group. We'd share about how Christ was good to us, our challenges. We'd pray for each other every time. So every taping day was a small group, about 1 hour of small group, just being in fellowship with the three of us. Iya's also Christian. Iya and Camille and me. It was a small group, and I miss that. It's one thing I miss about Mars Pamor.
Oh, how nice naman, no? Na before you start taping, meron kayong sort of sharing and parang a small community within the show.
In all my shows naman in GMA, Pia, meron may ganyan naman kami. Dapat alam mo, official yan, before every show, we pray. All of us. Everything's on hold. And then the prayer is on PA, doon sa desk, doon sa booth, at sa studio, we all pray. It's a 2-minute prayer to bless us and to make us excellent. Before every show, sa TikTok Clock, we all pray. With the TikTropa, with the studio guests as well. It's a way of being salt and light also. We were salt and light on television, might as well be salt and light for co-workers and to the live audience. We pray.
Oh, that's so nice, Kuya Kim. Oh, well, speaking of TikTok Clock, here, your last host on this list, Pokwang.
So passionate. Grabe yan si Mamang. When Mamang is happy, she's happy. When she's angry, she's angry. So, if you know the way she is, and then you love her. See, no, Mamang has no in-betweens. Kaya pag ganun yan, pag passionate yan, alam mo na kung saan siya nanggagaling. But her comic timing, ang sarap katrabaho ni Mamang. Sobra. Mamang will make you very good. Kasi mapagbigay sa comedy, alam mo yan, gagaling ka. Yung mga comedian kasi na hindi nagbibigay. Si Mamang, it's so nice to me in repartee with Mamang because it flows. Alatang talaga matagal ng comedian yan eh. And comedy is very difficult. Ang madali lang yan, pero mahirap ang comedy. You have to be very smart. And Mamang is very smart. And then number 2, ang language of love ni Mamang, magpakain. Every time, we share dressing room also eh. Mamang, me, Arabia then, and then Faye, and ngayon si Herlene, kasama na isang dressing room na kami. But every lunchtime, may pakain yan si Mamang.
Wow!
Galunggong, kaldereta, ang language of love ni Mamang, patabain ka. Sa ABS pa lang, it was always my dream to be a co-host of Mamang in any show. Si Kuya Willie, whenever he's absent, will make me sub for him. So Wawawi, panon. And then si Mamang, ang co-host ni Willie noon this was in mga 2006. Ang sarap naman katrabaho dito si Mamang, nakakatawa siya. Sana balang araw, makasama ko siya. That's my prayer then. Sa GMA pala, halos sabay kami lumipat dito eh. And then, siya pala magiging co-host ko sa TikTok Clock. And TikTok Clock has been 2 years already. 2 taon na kami.
Oo nga, bilis no? Imagine just like that, 2 years na. Naku,
Yeah, tsaka 3 taon na ako sa GMA. Imagine.
wow! Oo
May
nga
mind
no.
ba kakalipat ko lang dito? 3 taon na ako sa August.
Bilis no, Kuya Kim?
Oh.
And, well, you know what, Kuya Kim? Thank you as usual because you really are, you have this wealth of knowledge that just flows from you na talagang totoong alam mo lahat, Kuya Kim.
Yung wala
But-
pa.
Nako. So actually, speaking of, sabi mo marami ka pang hindi alam at mga gustong alamin. This is my last question for you. With everything that you already know, if you were to do, let's say, like parang if there's one thing you wanted to know more about, research about, or let's say do a thesis about, what would it be and why?
Magandang tanong yan. If there's one thing na hindi ko alam kailan ako mamamatay. I don't know when I'm going to die. But I know for a fact that I'm going to die. And I also know for a fact that I know where I'm going to go when I die. And it's not because of my doing. It's not because of my good works. It's because of grace. And this is the grace that Jesus showed to me and gave me. And this grace is all I need. And when I die, I'm going to be with him. Not because of my good works, but because I've accepted him as Lord and Savior. So yeah, I'd like to focus on that. Learning more about my Lord and learning more about falling in love with him deeper and deeper and deeper. And being salt and light. And having faith that is not empty. Having faith that's not based on just words and the Bible, but having faith that emanates with love and with overflows with good works.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for that, Kuya Kim. And hopefully that's something that we can all do as well, diba? And learn from and share with others. That's always the most important part, sharing it with others as well. Kuya Kim, thank you so much. Maybe you can invite everyone listening to catch you on your different shows and on social media.
Pia, maraming salamat. Thank you very much for guesting me. And such a pleasure to be with you as your surprise guest. At inimbitahan ko ang lahat ng mga nanonood kay Pia, lahat ng mga fans ni Pia to continue supporting the shows that I have in GMA. It's been a fabulous 3 years that I've been kapuso, and I've been gifted with 3 beautiful shows. Dapat Alam Mo, araw-araw, 5:30 to 6:30 sa GTV with Susan Rodriguez. And then TikTok Clock, araw-araw, 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock sa GMA. And of course, 24 oras sa segment natin na Kuya Kim, ano na. So maraming salamat mga kapuso for the support, for taking me in. And I will do my best to be the best Kuya Kim. Of course, I've been very active pala on TikTok. Meron akong Dapat Alam Mo segment ko lagi doon. I do all the time on TikTok. So follow me on TikTok. Type nyo lang Kuya Kim Atienza, at lalabas yan. Please follow me. Please comment. The comments that I make on TikTok are my comments. I'm very active in it. And I'm also very active on Instagram and on my Facebook page, Kuya Kim Atienza. So whatever you see sa social media ko, hindi po admin yan. Ako po yan. Usap tayo.
Thank you, Kuya Kim. We'll see you there on TV and on social media. Thanks, Kuya Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you. This surprise was planned by the team of Alan Ebora and Aubrey de los Reyes, edited by Shirley Paghiligan, with the amazing people of GMA Integrated News. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Till the next surprise.